Hey, what's up guys, welcome back to another video. It's been a while. I didn't think I would be doing any more of these, but I just had to come back and make a little more content. Today I'm going to be ranking every coaster at Seaworld Orlando. But before I start, I do have to preference this with the fact that I've only been on 5 of the now 8 operating coasters at the park. For the other 3, I'm just going to base it off either a POV, which I've seen, or other experiences that I've ridden. The 3 are, because my trip came in 2023, so I missed out on Penguin Truck, obviously, and then I missed out on Journey to Atlantis and the other, and the Kiddie Coaster. I just didn't want to deal with it. But for those rides, I am going to add a question mark up at the corner, where it says the number on it, just to preference with it. I think it's this spot, but I'm not 100% sure. But let's get started. Number 8, Super Grover Soapbox Car Derby. Having opened in 2006, this is a Zero Force 3, and serves as the park's only kiddie coaster. Being of one of the 3 I haven't ridden, I can't give first-hand information, but I'm just assuming it's number 8 because it is the kiddie coaster of the park. Plus, also, I'm kind of basing it on other Zeros that I've ridden, other Zero Force, and also kind of Vekoma, the Vekoma kiddie coasters also, because it looks like it has a very similar layout than one of those. Number 7, Journey Atlantis. Opening in 1998, this mock water coaster would be the park's first coaster. Having been on San Diego's version of this ride, I feel like this is a fair spot. Not very thrilling, but if you need to cool down or if you just need the credit, it's a good ride, well, to get on. Unfortunately, when I went, we were kind of stressed on time because we had not really stressed on time. It was a very long weekend in Orlando, and I would have much rather have gotten the Kraken credit, which I did, than getting this credit. From the oldest to the newest, we are now on number 6. Penguin Trek, a B&M family launch coaster that opened this year, in 2024, if anyone's not watching this year. If so, thank you. Considering that I went to the park the year before this came out, I missed out on the credit, obviously. It was even before the coaster was even announced. There were construction, which we all knew was going to be for a coaster. We just didn't know what it was going to be at. B&M, very surprising. But based on the POV, I think this is going to be a fun coaster, but not anything you need to visit every single time, ride every single time you go to the park. Maybe if there's a short line. But I think number 6 is a fair spot for this coaster. Number 5. Manta, the 2019 B&M Flying Coaster. Now onto the coasters that I actually have opinions on. The first of them being my first flying coaster ever. And honestly, I was kind of disappointed from the ride experience. I got one front row ride and nothing really hit. Everything was just very, I guess the word's graceful, but I kind of wanted something a little more intense, especially because my local one is Tatsu and I haven't actually ridden that one yet. Yeah, but nothing really was intense, even the pretzel loop, which may have just been from the fact that I was only in the front row. That could very much be what was going on there. But not to mention, this is a SeaWorld park, so the operations were horrible. So besides the ride not being very thrilling, in my opinion, I do admit I have to go back and get a back row ride. Trust me, I'm getting back to this park eventually. I still have to go to Tampa, and I also I have to get to Epic Universe, which is going to be a very fun experience when I end up getting there. But because this is a SeaWorld park, I spent 10 minutes on the brake run in the flying position. Boy, I wish that this was a new age Vekoma flyer, because then it would lift you to the side and you were sitting down on the brake run. But nope, I had my full body weight just going down because of gravity, which sucked. But gravity allows us to have coasters, so not massively horrible, but the experience on the brake run was just not fun. Number 4, Kraken, a B&M Floorless from 2000. This is a massive leap forward for my experience on Manta. And when I'm saying this, I'm going to actually come out with my rankings maybe pretty soon. And this is like a 20 spot gap, like jump right here. It's massively better. My experience is massively better than I got on Manta. I only got one ride in the back road, and this coaster wasn't just relatively smooth for a 20-plus-year-old coaster. It was also pretty intense. Also, the reason why I got back row, because when I was in the station for Mako, someone was like saying, "Oh, that ride is best in the back because it's not as it's like the least rough in the back." And I do agree. The back row is definitely the place to go for that ride. But I enjoyed this a lot. It was really intense. And at the time, I actually had this ranked above Hulk. But looking back at it, I feel like I remember the Hulk a little bit more, so I bumped Hulk up a little bit on my list. I can 100% say of the floorlesses that I've been on, the floorless coasters I've been on, this is definitely the best one I've been on. That's for sure. To be fair, my home park is Scream, and the only one, my home one is Scream, and the only other one I've been on is Patriot, so it's not really a competition, but it's definitely the best one I've been on so far. Number 3, Icebreaker, the 2002 Premier Launched Coaster. I was blessed to get a ride without comfort collars. I can say without a doubt, I don't know what SeaWorld was thinking calling this a family coaster. This was one of my standouts for my trip last year, and was filled with decent positives and multiple moments of seat leaving airtime, or like ejector airtime, basically. I don't know what I was saying when I was writing the script, but I do believe that removing the comfort collars was what made this ride enjoyable. I don't think I would have gotten as much negative forces if the comfort collars were there. But I do think this coaster was really, really enjoyable. I don't think there was another coaster that I had as low expectations for and blew me out of the way besides this, and maybe the coaster we're going to be talking about in about 3, 2, 1. Number 2, Pipeline, the surf coaster. The B&M surf coaster from 2023. When I got the confirmation that I was going to go on this trip, I attempted to avoid spoilers like the plague. Whenever I saw that there was a POV out or a review or somebody doing a ride on it, I tried to avoid it as much as possible. I did hear a little bit of like how people were actually really liking it, and especially for a stand-up, it was probably the best stand-up or stuff like that. I was like, okay, I'm really hyped for this coaster. This was probably the most hyped up coaster, probably besides Mako, for being because Mako would be my first B&M hyper. But this coaster was really good. I really enjoyed this coaster a lot. I really think this coaster is just so great, especially because of the fact that the seats make this ride even crazier than it actually is. Especially because the layout looks really, really boring, but the seats kind of kick you out of your seat on airtime and on inverted airtime and just regular airtime moments, that it like shoots your legs up into the air in like an uncontrolled fashion, and it's insane, and I loved it. That was probably like my favorite moment. It was like, oh my god, this is crazy, and I love it. And and what maybe makes this a little bit better for me is that I'm the only person who I know who's been on this, and that's saying something, because I have 68 credits, and a lot of my other coaster friends have like well into hundreds. Some I know are over 200, and it's a rare thing, and I'm very happy I got on this one. Number 1, Mako, the B&M Hypercoaster from 2016. This is without a doubt my favorite coaster in the park. My opinion may be inflated because it is my first B&M Hyper, but on my 2 back row rides, I was only in my seat for the final section of the coaster, and when there was a little bit of positive G's. I was out of my seat the entire time, and I have a graph to show it. Of course, whenever I showed it to someone, they're like, "Oh, it's not real, it's not real, it's not real." But nope, it was real. But I got really strong ejector on this, and like it was my favorite moment was especially the 5-second floater hill, because it was not floater, it was ejector, and my knees were basically the only thing keeping me in my seat. If that's floater, I don't know what the difference between floater and ejector is, because I was ejected out of my seat, that's for sure. The only way this coaster could have been even better was that was if the post mid course was better. Like maybe add a little more airtime, stuff like that. It's not the greatest past the mid course, but it's like a nice little like, oh look at this, is like a nice ending instead of just going straight into the brake run. But whatever. It could be better. But that's it. Wow. I want to thank you guys for watching my first video back. I plan to make on more content, especially when the coaster announcements come out. That's kind of why I'm booting up back right now, because it won't feel as much weird as I just randomly post reactions to when coasters get announced. But nearly not. I'm gonna be uploading a little more content, not nearly as much as I did last year, mainly because I am going into my senior year, and I have to make I'm doing a lot of like harder classes, and then also I have to do a bunch of stuff to actually get into college. Yeah, there's paperwork and shit like that and applications, and I just don't want to do it. But I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.